I'm Harrison Graham. It's mailbag time here on Chicago Bears Now. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions answered. We'll answer as many as we possibly can. Bears down. If the Bears trade Justin Fields and draft Caleb Williams, should they sign a veteran backup like Jacoby Brissett? It's an interesting idea, and I've been asked this a couple of times on social media, so I kind of threw together a bit of a list here for this question. Jacoby Brissett, who you mentioned, of course. Gardner Minshew, who maybe he's played his way into a starting role somewhere. We'll see. Tyrod Taylor, I thought, played pretty well for the Giants. He's a little bit older, but on a one-year deal, I could get down with that. Jameis Winston, Ryan Tannehill, Sam Darnold, Drew Lock, Josh Dobbs, Marcus Mariota, gross, Tyler Huntley. It'll be interesting because I think that Tyson Bagent will be on this roster regardless of what happens with Fields. Like, if they trade Fields, I think he's here. If they keep Fields, I think he's just the backup regardless. If they go rookie quarterback, though, they may want a more proven veteran backup, not only to step in and play if needed, but to help groom that rookie quarterback. So that's definitely an interesting option I could see play out. So we'll see what happens, man. I like Tyrod Taylor. I don't think he'll cost a lot. He's a little bit older, and he played pretty well this year. So he'd be a guy I'd be heavily interested in that scenario. Should the Bears sign a veteran QB if they draft Caleb Williams? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Obviously, I don't think Ryan Poles is going to be in the business of paying one of these QBs $10 million. But if they can get a quality backup for $4 or $5 million, I think it's a possibility. I would definitely be open to it. You keep Bagent as the third-string developmental guy, and, by 2025, he's your for-sure backup. So let me know why for yes and for no. Will they sign a veteran QB if they draft Caleb Williams? Mr. Nobody, trade down and draft Jayden Daniels, sign Patterson. Cordero, I assume is who you're talking about there. I find it hard to believe. Like, if they're taking a quarterback, I think they're taking one at number one. I don't see the trade down for a Jayden Daniels scenario playing out. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe they just fall in love with Jayden Daniels and they feel like they can get him at 3 or 4. But if they're that in love with him, they'd probably just take him at 1. So we'll see what happens, but I don't think this scenario is that likely. Mike G., which safety would you sign, Xavier McKinney or Antoine Winfield Jr.? I think McKinney would be cheaper. I think Winfield's better. I don't know. It's a good question, but I think signing a safety is definitely a possibility if you cut Eddie Jackson, which is a possibility. Isaiah Blueball, why not interview Brian Ferentz for OC? Because that brother stinks. Brian Ferentz, guys, is a joke. They, at Iowa, contractually said, hey, you need to score 25 points per game, which is not that many at the college level. They came nowhere close. I think they averaged like 14 points per game this year. It's horrible. He can't coach. He's just not good at all. Harrison Graham's beard. I'd like to stack up the offense to the point where it's impossible not to succeed. I would love to move down to 3, take Marvin, draft an edge with 9. You get a center or guard in the second via trade. I feel like if you're talking about stacking up the offense, shouldn't you also go offense at 9? Like go MHJ at 3, either go another receiver at 9 or go Brock Bowers at 9 or go left tackle at 9. So if you're trying to do that, then I'm really loading up in the first round. Jake with the 5, totally out there, but my thoughts were if we somehow sign Mike Evans and Derrick Henry, it's like 2-year deals. I like both guys. And the reason I like them is you're not going to have to commit to them for long term. Like you said, 1-2-year deals. Maybe Evans you have to go 2, maybe 3. I think Henry's 1 or 2 year deal guy at this point. So yeah, I'm open to it. I don't think they'd go both, but I could see them going veteran at one of those positions, either A, to upgrade your starting running back, or B, to get a good, legitimate player, proven player, opposite of DJ Moore. Appreciate Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. They've been a loyal sponsor since the start of football season, and they're still with us here, so we appreciate them. And I appreciate them just on a personal level because I think they have the most user-friendly app when it comes to daily fantasy. It's really easy to sign up. It's really easy to make entries. Takes less than 60 seconds. And we've told you guys about them for a while. It's very simple. You choose more or less on 2 to 6 player entries, and if all your players that you select hit, boom, you cash out. 2 players entries, you make up to 3 times your money. 6 player entries, up to 25 times your money, and everything in between. This 3 player entry, I get 5 times up my money. I did put in $20 to win 100. Feel great about it. I think Josh Allen hits 250 plus passing, to be frank, so I think 237.5 is low. I think that Dalton Schultz could have a big day. I know it's the Ravens defense and our old pal Roquan Smith, but he's been very reliable for C.J. Stroud. I like the more there. And then I like San Francisco to contain Aaron Jones, so I'm going to go less on his rushing yards. 20 to win 100. Back me if you want, or go make your own picks at prizepicks.com/CLNS. That code CLNS gets a deposit match up to $100. It's Prize Picks, daily fantasy made easy. Matty Boy, shout out to you. Ask a question next time, my friend. Appreciate the super chat. Don Burr, Harrison, cut your beard if Detroit wins Sunday. I already did a heavy trim. I mean, you should have seen it a week ago. Nah, I'm sticking with the trim, man. I'm not going clean shave. Nate Dogg, what moves do the Bears make on the offensive line? I mean, obviously center. There's no doubt. The other 2 questions are, do you add competition/upgrades at left tackle and or guard? We know Darnell Wright's a starting right tackle. I think we're pretty confident that Tevin Jenkins is a starting left guard, but he's had some injury woes. Nate Davis was not that great at right guard. It was up and down. He had the family situation, so I think that got him off to a slow start, but he also didn't finish the season well. I liked how Braxton Jones played, but I could see Ryan Poles if the right opportunity arose to at least bring in competition there. So that's the question. I don't think you can replace Nate Davis and Braxton Jones. I think if you really wanted to upgrade one of those, you could. But I think what's more likely is like depth competition at one or both of those spots. And then obviously you're going to add a starting center. Wasim says FGB. FGB. Shout out to Wasim. Mr. Nobody, I don't think it's realistic. Just asking if you would do it. It seems like a fun scenario with these LSU boys being one of the best offenses ever. FGB. Talking about, you asked about the Jayden Daniels trade down. I see what you're saying. Listen, I like Jayden Daniels. I do think he's a distant QB3, at least based on my early analysis. That I have Caleb 1, Drake 2, Jayden 3. I mean, an interesting idea is, let's say you are going to keep Justin Fields next year. You trade down to 3, draft Marvin. What if Jayden's still sitting there at 9 and you're like, well, we didn't plan for this, but he's there. Could you draft him there? Maybe. But again, I don't think that's going to be the case here. Hit that subscribe button and join us live on Sunday. Lions, Bucks, watch party. Game's at 2 o'clock Central, so we're going to go live at 1:30. If you're on the East Coast, we'll go live at 2:30 for a 3 o'clock kick. So join us on Sunday. Should be a good time watching the Lions in the divisional round. Man, what an opportunity for them to go to the NFC title game. That would kind of suck, but we'll be live for it, breaking it down for you guys. Spence, if we end up taking Caleb at number 1, who would be the optimal player position at 9? I would personally want a wideout. I like Odunze or Malik Nabers. That's the dream. If you go Caleb Williams, you want one of those 2 guys to fall to 9. There's no chance Marvin Harrison falls to 9, but there is a chance Nabers or Odunze is there. So I think ideally that would happen. Now, if they were all gone, I would either trade down from 9 or take an edge, because Dallas Turner, Leatu Latu, or Jared Verse would almost certainly be there if 3 receivers and 3 quarterbacks go in the top 8. So you could go left tackle with Joe All, Olu Fashanu, someone like that, but I would go wide receiver, edge, or trade down. Richard Lococo, did Kliff help out Kyler Murray when he was the head coach in Arizona? Would he help Justin Fields if the Bears keep him? I mean, I think he would, but I just don't think Kliff and Fields are like the marriage you're looking for. Like, if you hire Kliff Kingsbury, I think it's a direct signal you're drafting Caleb Williams. That's just my opinion. So that's how I would see that go. I think Kliff's a good coach. I don't think he's perfect. He wouldn't be my top OC candidate, but I'd be cool with it, and I would definitely like it if he was the quarterback's coach, regardless of who the quarterback is. Isaiah Carter, if we get Mike Evans or Tee Higgins, are we still going receiver in the first round? Probably not, but maybe. If it's a one-year deal, like in Evans' case, I could still see it. If it's Higgins, probably not, because that means you probably signed him to a multi-year big deal, and you've got him and DJ Moore under contract for at least the next 2 years. So I don't think you'd go receiver. But if you signed Evans like a 1 or 2 year deal, I could definitely still see a scenario where you take a receiver in the first round, especially if it's a clear best player available situation at number 9. Will the Bears make the playoffs next season? Type P for playoffs or W for won't. Come on, man. Got to get back in the postseason. I'm spamming my P's. Let's get back there. P for playoffs, W for won't. What do you guys think? Matty Boy, Kingsbury or Waldron as an OC, assuming Justin Fields is quarterback? Waldron. And I would probably take Waldron even if you go Caleb too. Waldron's my top guy. So regardless of who QB is, I'm going Waldron in that scenario. Jacob Savini. What gap is bigger, Harrison Jr. to Nabers or Nabers to Odunze? I don't think the gap with any of it is that great, but I'll go Harrison Jr. to Nabers. And the reason I say that is because some people have Odunze higher than Nabers. So they're 2A, 2B to me. I like Nabers just slightly more, but I do think Marvin is at least a half step ahead of the other two. DC Viper, who's the best replacement for Eddie Jackson? I mean, the guy earlier mentioned 2 names, Antoine Winfield, Xavier McKinney. If you're looking in the draft, I like the Tyler Nubin kid out of Minnesota. Cameron Kitchens out of Miami, a teammate of Tyreek Stevenson, is an interesting one. So those are some names. Geno Stone, under the radar guy with Baltimore. I would look into him. So, yeah, there's some guys out there. Lacora, if signing Chris Jones, what's going to be the contract? I'm saying 2 years, $48 million. I think he gets more than 24 a year, man. I think you're looking at a guy that's going to get 30 a year. So, 2 for 60, 3 for 90, something like that. Maybe it's like 28 a year, but it's going to be a lot. I mean, he's just so disruptive as an interior guy. So it's not going to be cheap. And 24 a year, believe it or not, would be a pretty big discount. All right, we will continue the conversation on social media. So if you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter at HGramNFL. Appreciate all the super chats, all the hashtag Bears questions. My name is Harrison Graham. Bear down. We'll see you soon.